I'm going to come up with the name Trevor Lawrence of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence is coming. We understand he's the #1 overall pick, so you could say expectations, he's supposed to do this. Well, damn it, he did it. We're not talking enough about him. We need to.
In 2018, Trevor Lawrence became the first true freshman quarterback to win a national championship since 1985, after he led Clemson to a 44-16 victory over Alabama. Ever since that day, Trevor Lawrence was undoubtedly going to be the first overall pick whenever he was eligible and declared for the NFL draft. Many draft analysts even said that Trevor Lawrence was the best quarterback prospect since Andrew Luck in 2012. In 2020, the Jaguars lost 15 consecutive games to finish the year with a 1-15 record. This meant that they ultimately would wind up with the first overall pick in the 2021 NFL draft, where they of course would select their new face of the franchise in Trevor Lawrence. There was insane hype surrounding Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars heading into his rookie year. After all, Andrew Luck took a 2-14 team and led them to an 11-5 record in his first year in the NFL. So if Trevor Lawrence is the same level that Luck was, Trevor should be able to do the same. However, Trevor's rookie season was not as illustrious as planned. Before the NFL draft, the Jaguars announced that they were bringing former Ohio State Buckeyes head coach Urban Meyer out of retirement to be their new head coach. And that was their biggest mistake. Not even a generational talent in Trevor Lawrence could withstand the absolute disaster that he caused. Probably the most well-known example as to how bad of an NFL coach Urban Meyer was is the incident that happened after Thursday Night Football in Cincinnati. The Jaguars fell to 0-4 to start the season after a gut-wrenching loss to the Bengals. Urban Meyer did not fly home with the team that night and decided to stay in Cincinnati, where he could be found on video receiving a lap dance from a woman who, by the way, is not his wife, at a bar after the loss. So I'm sure you could only imagine what kind of message this sends to the team. But anyways, Urban Meyer was a train wreck as a head coach and was fired before the end of his first season with the Jaguars. This impacted Trevor Lawrence immensely, as the man who was labeled as a generational talent looked like he was failing to adjust to the NFL. Trevor completed less than 60% of his passes and tossed a league-leading 17 interceptions in his rookie year. The Jaguars went 3-14 and were the worst team in the NFL for the second consecutive season. Going into 2022, the Jaguars hired Super Bowl winning head coach Doug Peterson. This would prove to be the best decision that the Jaguars could have ever made for Trevor Lawrence. But in the beginning, losing was still a common thing for the Jaguars, as they went 3-7 through the first 10 weeks of the year. But then the Jaguars went 6-1 to finish out the season. The biggest reason for this was the performance of Trevor Lawrence, as in the final 8 games of the year, Trevor was arguably the best quarterback in the NFL, as he completed over 68% of his passes and threw for 14 touchdowns to only 2 interceptions and posted a passer rating of 103.8 during that span. He was a completely different player. The Jaguars won their division and made it to the playoffs after being the worst team in the NFL for the past 2 seasons. But in the wildcard round, it looked like the magic was ending. Trevor Lawrence started the game with 4 interceptions in the first half, and the Jaguars found themselves in a 27-0 hole early in the game. But they fought back and won the game on a game-winning field goal. This game was extremely important for Trevor Lawrence. Not only did he show that he could fight through adversity and persevere when things aren't going his way, he showed that he can win in the postseason as well. If you look at Peyton Manning's first 2 seasons in the league, there are a lot of similarity to Trevor's. Peyton's first year, he threw a rookie record 28 interceptions, and the Colts were the worst team in football. Then, his second season, the Colts went 13-3 and made it to the divisional round of the playoffs. It looks like Trevor Lawrence is now blossoming into the player that we all knew he could be coming out of college. So what is the forecast for Trevor Lawrence heading into his 3rd season? And could he possibly be a candidate to win the NFL MVP award? I would say absolutely. As I mentioned before, Trevor Lawrence made huge improvements from his first to second season. In fact, those improvements were historic, as Trevor Lawrence had the greatest increase in passer rating from year 1 to year 2 in NFL history. Also, just the simple fact that it will be Trevor's second season with Doug Peterson as head coach will be huge for Trevor Lawrence heading into his 3rd season. The same offense that was in place last year in Jacksonville will be in place this year. And as we could see by the way that last year ended for Trevor, it's clear that he got used to the offense and was feeling comfortable. So without having to go through another coaching transition, it's highly unlikely that the Jaguars will have another abysmal start to the year like they did last year. Simply just because the whole team is familiar with the offense and doesn't have to adjust to a new play caller. Another thing that is going right for Trevor Lawrence heading into his third season is the addition of Calvin Ridley to the offense. Last year, the addition of Christian Kirk was big for Trevor Lawrence's development. But now, former Falcons wide receiver Calvin Ridley is back after being suspended for the entire 2022 season for violating the NFL's gambling policy. When Ridley was healthy in Atlanta, he was one of the league's best receivers, and he is now looking to prove that he is still a number one receiver with the Jaguars. Adding another extremely skilled wide receiver to this group will help Trevor Lawrence out a lot. So can Trevor Lawrence win MVP in his third season? Absolutely. Trevor Lawrence was and still is one of the most polished quarterback prospects we have ever seen. He's 6'6" and extremely athletic. He's an accurate passer who can throw on the run. He is also extremely efficient. And now he knows what it takes to win at a high level in professional football, as he has multiple big victories under his belt. So now Trevor Lawrence isn't just an extremely physically gifted player, he also has gained the confidence and leadership abilities that he needed to take his game to an even higher level than we saw last season. And this will put himself in contention to win his first MVP award. Hey everyone, thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to leave a like and hit that subscribe button, as it'll go a long way in helping me grow this channel for you. Once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.